Hi folks, Dom Lawson from Metal Hammer magazine here with today's Iron Sandwich. Yesterday I spoke about the very splendid Vector. Please do check that album out if you like your thrash, because it's killer. Today I'm going to go off-piste, as they say in the skiing trade, or probably in other trades as well. But it's getting to the end of the year. There are lots of new releases coming out, but really, me wading through a ton of kind of mediocre black metal stuff that no one really cares about might be great for the bands concerned, but I don't think it's necessarily going to be illuminating for any of the 24 people that might see this. So what I'm going to do today, I've picked 3 albums from 2011, none of which are metal albums, but they're all in one small or slightly larger way connected, affiliated, or associated somehow with heavy music anyway. And just for a change, just to pick, just so we're not all sat here pretending that all we ever listen to is Slayer, although obviously that's a good thing to do. Just stuff that as my taste is fairly broad, and I like to kind of recommend other stuff to people too. And if you're horrified by the things that I've chosen, then I don't apologise at all, really, because whatever. No one's forcing you to buy anything, are they, really? Or to listen to anything you don't want to listen to. But anyway, I've picked 3 albums that I think are fantastic, and from different genres. Don't worry, there's no indie music. There's no dreadful pop R&B or anything like that. It's all stuff that's got some balls to it, but just not metal. So I'm going to start by showing you. This is a band that you may have caught this band supporting our Lord and Saviour Ginger Wildheart over the last few weeks. They're called Exit International. I can never get these bloody things to stop shining in the blooming light, but there you go. Exit International. The album's called Black Junk. One of the most joyful and exciting records that I've heard this year, without a doubt. What a phenomenal band. What I love about them, and if you know anything about my band, you'll know probably why I like this so much, is that they just have 2 bass players and a drummer. I used to play in a band with 2 bass players and a drummer, and obviously now I play in a band with just a bass player and a drummer. But yeah, 2 basses, drums, lots of vocals. It's a right old racket, and it reminds me a lot of it's like a heavier, more intense version of the band McCluskey that some of you may remember. I'm a huge fan of McCluskey, amazing band. It's along those lines, I guess, but with a real kind of gnarly, hardcore edge to it, and it reminds me of stuff like Big Black and Shellac and some of Steve Albini stuff. It's got a real intensity to it, driving intensity to it that they're as heavy as a lot of metal bands, frankly, but it's just got a real punk spirit to it as well. It's raw and kind of almost out of control, but rhythmically incredibly tight, and the combination of the 2 distorted basses is just fabulous. I love it. I'm a big fan of big crunching grindy bass sounds, and these guys have got it all, and the lyrics, guys. Oh no, I said they've got it all. It sounds like fucking Louis Walsh, doesn't it? They've made it their own. They're natural born pop stars, but they're not. They're from lovely Wales, and just the song titles on this album make it worth buying. The opening track's called Glory Horn. Come on, Sex with Strangers, Shake Your Bad Ass, Bowie's Ghost, Chainsaw Song, just brilliant. And there's not a bad track on it. It's a really, really, really exciting record, and I've yet totally failed to see them live yet for a variety of tedious reasons, and I absolutely definitely will in 2012. In fact, I very much hope to play some gigs with them, because they feel like kindred spirits, really. But yeah, Exit International they're called. You can find them on your Twitter, which if I can find their Twitter moniker. I wonder if that's on here. It probably isn't. It's I think it's something like exit_int_music, I think. But they're brilliant, and very witty lyrics as well, razor sharp and quite gnarly and dark, and just it's just a phenomenal record. And it's one of those, I've said it a few times, there are records that you put on, and if you stick it on loud enough, it just makes you want to smash everything. Well, this is one of those albums, absolutely fantastic. It's on Undergroove Records, and there you go, Exit International, Black Junk, fantastic record from 2011. Really, really recommend that. Second one. This is number one in my prog top 20 of the year, even beating Opeth to the number one slot in my prog rock and prog metal albums of the year. And this is a band that those of you that follow me on Twitter who are into their prog will have seen me bashing on about this, and you most of you I guess will have checked them out already. But for anyone who hasn't and who likes progressive rock and space rock and really imaginative, exciting music, this is Moonwagon from Finland, and the album's called Night Dust. I interviewed them earlier this year, and what I found fascinating about them was that they originally formed. Someone in the kind of near the area where they live put on a festival, and the idea of that festival was that local musicians would put bands together and basically perform classic 70s hard rock albums in their entirety, and like kind of it would be a case of come along to this festival and you'll hear a bunch of classic albums played by local musicians, which is a great idea anyway. Actually, I think someone should do that over here. But Moonwagon basically came together because the guys just happened to be the band that were put together to perform the first Black Sabbath album. So they were kind of brought together by a love of Black Sabbath, but I guess it also transpired that they must have had a love of Hawkwind and Pink Floyd and Rush and King Crimson and God knows what else, because this is just an absolutely phenomenal prog album, and it's entirely instrumental except for a bit of chanting on the last track, Sundown Mountain, which sound that bit on the song sounds a bit like magma, if that means anything to you. But they're long rambling instrumentals, but with great melodies and just tons of twists and turns, tons of atmosphere, a really kind of authentic 70s prog sound, but it's very well produced and very modern, very live sounding as well. It's got a lot of power to it, and there's just something really magical about this album. The first time I put it on, I listened to it on headphones and I was going for a walk, and originally my walk was supposed to be 15 minutes, but I just kept walking because the album was so amazing, and it just it's one of those things, the cliche of a musical journey is obviously very overused now, probably overused by me, but this is an album that you can really get lost in, and I think if you love the real classic sounds of 70s progressive rock and like I say, bands like Hawkwind and the more kind of space rock, ambient, psychedelic kind of thing as well, it's just phenomenal stuff. And they slip from kind of one area of prog to another with such a kind of natural grace that it's got, I don't know, it's just a really gripping record, and I think that there will always be some people who think that progressive rock is boring and all the songs go on too long and all that kind of stuff. Well, that's not going to be for you. If your favourite band, New Found Glory, then probably don't listen to Moonwagon. But I think in terms of progressive rock this year, there are more forward-thinking bands, there are more original bands, there are bands that that are more about writing songs and clever song structures and technical dexterity and all that kind of stuff. But in terms of feel and in terms of the atmosphere and in terms of drawing you into a musical experience that you'll want to relive time and time again, Night Dust by Moonwagon has been, effectively my album of the year. If I had to pick one album this year, I would be torn between the Machine Head record and this one, because this is just such a glorious record. And I can't. And apparently they've nearly finished the second one, which is due out early in next year, I think. And can't wait to hear that, and I just can't wait to see them live. It's just going to be one of those experiences that I just feel is going to be instant mind blown kind of thing. But yeah, Moonwagon from Night Dust, really lovely chaps as well. They sent me a nice T-shirt, bless them. It's let's see what label it's on. Not sure what label it's on. It says Tiesto Records, whatever that means. But you can find them on MySpace and I guess Facebook and stuff. But it shouldn't be too hard to track down. It may well be on iTunes and Spotify. I don't know. But anyway, Night Dust by Moonwagon. Thoroughly recommend this. Absolutely glorious music. Now, finally, I'm going to irritate the small portion of people that watch this bollocks who only listen to metal, and Satan bless you for that. Nothing wrong with that at all. If that's all you want to listen to, then that's fair enough, because at least you're listening to something good. But I'm going to recommend a hip hop album. So how do you like those apples? But don't worry, because it's a hip hop album by Ill Bill and Vinnie Paz. Now, and it's called Heavy Metal Kings. So there's a link straight away to the heavy metal world. Not only that, but the artwork, as you can see there, is very clearly designed by Away from Voivod, and that is yet another reason to buy it, even if you hate hip hop, because his artwork is always absolutely phenomenal. And look at that, it's brilliant. I've got a T-shirt with that on the front of it, and it's the nuts. I love it. Excuse me. But anyway, Ill Bill has a definite. I mean, Ill Bill and Vinnie Paz are both heavy metal fans. There's no doubt about it. There's a lot of references to heavy metal albums and bands and stuff in the lyrics here, anyway. But Ill Bill's certainly got a history of doing that. He was in a group called Non-Fiction back in back in the day, a decade or so ago, who put an album out called The Future Is Now, and there was a track on it called The CIA's Still Trying to Kill Me, which had kind of metal riffs in the background and made loads of references to Slayer and Obituary and all this kind of stuff, and it was just fantastic. So they're obviously heartfelt metal fans. You can follow them on Twitter as well, actually, and again, you quite often see them talking about old thrash records and stuff. So it's not a pose. They're genuine metal fans. But this isn't. It's not a metal infused hip hop record per se. It's not. It's not like that half-assed thing that MOP did, the Mosh Out Posse album, which was a bit it's not Body Count. It's not. It's not Public Enemy, She Watched Channel Zero. It's not that kind of thing. There's some certainly some very heavy beats and some real darkness to the music, and the lyrics do make a lot of references to metal and metal things. The song titles, again, written in Away's amazing handwriting on the back. But there are songs called Keeper of the Seven Keys, Impaled Nazarene, King Diamond. There's a track called King Diamond on it. What more could you want? Metal in Your Mouth, Terror Network, Splatterfest. It's this dark. Leviathan, The Spell of Kingu. That's amazing. And it's just brilliant. It's up there, certainly one of my top 3 hip hop records of the year, and just phenomenal stuff, really. Vinnie Paz is also, I recommend his solo stuff and the stuff he's done with Jedi Mind Tricks. They're just both enormously talented rappers, very inventive, and they're and it does go to show that there are, as much as people might want to kind of see hip hop as being something that's diametrically opposed to metal, and that when it gets mixed together you end up with Limp Bizkit. Well, not always. Sometimes you end up with something good instead. And to have a broad taste in music and to appreciate both genres and to embrace all that stuff, I think is a great thing. And I think what they've done here is it's a hardcore hip hop album. It's not that it's not glossy commercial hip hop. It's proper underground stuff. It's proper intelligent but angry, and it's got lots of balls. The lyrics are consistently great, and like I say, fantastic artwork, fantastic song titles, and in its own way, it's as metal as hell, really. I just think if you're going to listen to hip hop as a metal fan, this is or if you've you like one or two things but you've never really kind of bought an album or anything, this is a great one to get. It's of an extraordinarily high quality, I think, and one that I've played a lot this year. So there you go. Ill Bill and Vinnie Paz, Heavy Metal Kings, available on Enemy Soil and Uncle Howie Records, I believe. You may have seen my Uncle Howie hoodie in some of these iron sandwiches, which is the best quality item of clothing I've ever bought. It's absolutely fantastic. It cost a packet, but it was a glorious thing. But there you go, fantastic. So there you go. Hip hop is great. So if you don't like it, you can fuck off, because when it's done well, it's as good as anything else. And these guys know their shit. I saw them arguing about Hyrax once on Twitter. And I bet there's even some people out there who don't know who Hyrax are and think that they're great metal fans. Well, there you go. Bill and Vinny, they know their shit, and this is a fantastic record. So there you go. There you have it, folks. 3 albums from 2011. None of them technically metal albums, but I thought it would just be interesting to recommend some other stuff. And if you trust my opinion, then you might want to check those out. If you think I'm a prick, then obviously don't. But then why would you have sat through it anyway? I have no idea. I hope you have a splendid Wednesday. Christmas is coming, but don't let that get you down, because there's always the new year, and that's probably going to be shit as well, but whatever. Heavy metal to all, and keep it steel, etc., and all the other cliches. And maybe I'll see you tomorrow for another one of these aluminium baguettes. So cheers, folks, and take care.